Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of All Queued Up, your review podcast tied to streaming services like HBO Max, Amazon Prime, or Zix Prime Video, Netflix, what have you. I'm your host, Greg Dietz, and with me always is Maya Don Fisher. How are you doing today?
Oh, pretty good considering I am tired as hell. I got like 4 hours of sleep from 5 a.m. to 9, about 20 after 9. So just over 4 hours of sleep last night. You know, I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West since it dropped Friday. I've already got 63 hours in the game.
I'm not
This
surprised.
being at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. I've been playing it about 11, 12 hours a day. But I've been stopping by midnight or 1 o'clock every night. And last night I stopped playing at 12:30, and I was like, all right, time to go to sleep. I could not go to sleep. I laid there, could not go to sleep, tossing and turning, trying to get comfortable, could not. I just laid there until I was so exhausted I finally fell asleep. Then I messaged you first thing this morning. I was like, can we record later in the day? Because I feel like a bag of ass. But yeah, that's how my week's been. Since Friday, I've just been playing Horizon Forbidden West and am in love with it. Can't say enough good things about the game. But I won't spoil anything because I know you've not started playing it yet.
No, yeah, I'm still waiting for my copy through GameFly. They sent it last Thursday.
Wow, and it's still not gotten to you.
Well, in their defense, it wouldn't have been here by Friday or Saturday. Just
No,
is.
because
Then,
were they based? I think what, Pittsburgh?
maybe, but I know that my facility is in LA.
Oh, okay, really.
Yeah.
I know the one I always got them from, I think, was around Pittsburgh when I used GameFly, which I no longer do anymore, but it was a great service when I did use it.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know if it's our post office or if it's because of the distance or they have to charge more, whatever it is. I never get a game like that soon. It's always within like 4 days. Sometimes longer if it does something like this week where there was 2 whole days off that the post office had. So
What was this week?
President's Day, Monday.
Oh, it was. I didn't even know.
That's fair. I forgot about it until Sunday night because I was really, really busy Sunday with DoorDash. And I was like, why is it so fucking busy? And I looked at my phone. I was like, oh, because people are off tomorrow. That's why it's busy. Nice. Which I wasn't complaining, but it was just odd. You know, I was like, why the fuck is it so busy? And then like Monday was pretty good because people were off. So they were ordering food and whatnot. But
hell yeah.
But I knew that because there were 2 days off at the post office, I probably wasn't going to get it until today as of recording, Wednesday. But my mail
2 days off, were they closed Friday too, or
Sunday and Monday?
Oh yeah. Well, see, I'm always used to Sunday being closed.
That's why I'm saying 2 days. So they sent it. They mailed it out on Thursday, which means that it got picked up Thursday evening. It didn't get processed until Friday. Then probably got shipped from LA to the post office here, and didn't get fully processed until either Saturday night at this post office or Tuesday morning.
More than likely Tuesday morning.
So that's why I haven't gotten it yet, and I will either get it tonight or tomorrow night for sure.
Gotcha.
And if I don't get it by Thursday night, I'll definitely be calling, or not calling, but contacting DoorDash and be like, hey, what the fuck's up? But I know that how they do that. They're like,
DoorDash and GameFly?
Yeah, sorry. A little tired. Yeah, GameFly, they've done that in the past, and they're like, wait 2 weeks. I'm just like, 2 fucking weeks? 2 weeks? But yeah, I'm excited to play it, regardless. Very excited. Based on your, what you've said and the fact that like the first game was great.
And here's the thing: all the things that were minor nitpicks in the first game like gameplay, combat, things like that. They improved on it in this one.
Oh, I imagine so.
And honestly, I didn't have any gripes with the first game. I just know that some people did, and I think things are more fluid in this game. But I'm enjoying it a lot, and I'm running it on a base PS4 instead of a PS4 Pro or a PS5 because even though I thought I'd have a PS5 by now, fucking Sony sending me an invite. Here, you're invited to a PlayStation Direct where you can purchase a PlayStation 5 console from us via invite alone. And then as soon as I get in there, oh, we're sold out. Fuck you.
Yeah, because they the way they handle that is really stupid. Where they want more people than
they invite more users than they have consoles on hand.
Yeah, because they don't know if someone's going to drop out. So that's the entire reason they do that. That's what I was trying to say.
I think they should invite the number that they have, and if there's any left over, put up another round. Say, hey, if you were in the waiting list, the first round didn't sell out. Here's your chance to buy another one, and invite that many people. It wouldn't be hard to do.
Yeah. It wouldn't be hard to do, but it's also fucking these companies that they do not give a fuck if you're upset. They really don't.
They don't. They don't fucking care because any bad PR is still PR.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, my week's been fine. I've just been busy working and taking care of stuff. I think I've kind of mentioned it to you, but there have been a lot of bill issues in my household.
Yeah.
And I'm solving it slowly. But
I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and she's all the time worrying about something continually every single day from the time she gets up to the time she goes to sleep. She's worrying about things, about shit that I'm just like, why do you even worry about that? It's nothing that's within your realm of control. So why worry about it? The only thing that I worry about, aside from the well-being of my family, Misty and Madison, first and foremost, is the financial issues. And if the financial issues are good, nothing else is bad. There's that. Not saying nothing's bad entirely, but it's like there's just so much stress gone because of the financial burdens being lifted. So, I feel you, and I look forward to you getting all that lined out and smoothed out very soon.
Yeah, the biggest hurdles that we're coming across. So we had to pay a loan payment bill, which was like $400, and then the cell phone bill, which was $277. So I was earning money to pay for both of those, and we had a certain amount because of Dad's mid-month payment that he gets from the state / government, federal. I meant. We were trying to figure out how to get that done. I was working certain hours and earning enough money, and I was like, "Cool, we're nailed, we got it." And then a surprise one came out of nowhere because why? Neither of my parents remembered to tell me. And it wasn't one that was written on the bill list. I'm not going to go into specifics, but they just refused. They just didn't tell me. They didn't think to tell me. They didn't remember to tell me. And so then I'm scrambling trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, and that's just unneeded, unnecessary stress that could be avoided with just a little bit more heads up.
Yeah.
And I think once all three of you get on the same page about, knowing exactly what's coming out, what needs to come out when, you'll be in a lot better situation. And from what you've been explaining to me, everything seems to be progressing towards that situation, towards that status.
Yeah, it's hard to say whether it is or isn't. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. There's aspects to it that I'm like, cool, we're inching towards that. And then there's other aspects where I'm like, fucking MC Scat Cat of the situation.
2 steps forward and 2 steps back.
Oh, I thought it was.
Duel.
I thought it was 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Well, that's what it feels like is 1 step forward, 2 steps back. So if I fucked up the lyric to make the joke, that's okay.
Okay. And I get what you're saying. They get what you're saying. It's like make a little bit, chip away, and then something comes up, and it just feels like, okay, I'm not getting anywhere. I get that.
Well, one of the things that drives me fucking nuts right now is that my Aunt Anita giving us back this car. Like, there's a whole story behind that. She was like, one of the things I want you to do is to save money. I want you to save as much as you can. I'd like to look her square in the eye and be like, fucking how?
Yeah.
So it's little things like that I'm just like, that fucking sucked. I think I got a duck bite on my belly. Anyway, folks,
had a feast.
I will say this. Here's the positive angle of me constantly being busy. When I'm not busy, my brain likes to wander. So annoyingly that little things will really bother me. Little jokes that friends make in my direction that they don't mean anything by, but it's there. And
that
if
bug having a feast on your belly was out of love, Greg.
But like the jokes. Okay, so for example, I apparently pronounced the word once wrong. I pronounce it once because that's just like how my brain wants to say it. And if I'm in the middle of a conversation, I don't think about it. And it's a joke that you and the other friends that we play with make. Correct?
I don't make it. I laugh at it. I don't make it. I never once have I made the joke at your expense. However, I will laugh the fuck along when it happens.
So when that happens, there's a part of my brain that gets really, really concerned with a lot of bullshit that it doesn't need to concentrate on, right?
Yeah.
And it sucks. Like I hate it. I hate it so goddamn much. I wish I didn't constantly have those thoughts. I wish I constantly didn't have like these dumb fucking like pieces of my brain that go, oh, this is bad. Concentrate on this. But me being busy, me having to concentrate on stuff that's important to the household and figuring that stuff out, that shit just does not fucking have room. It just doesn't have room. That's as simple as I can put it. It's not that it doesn't want to hyper focus on it. It's not that it doesn't say certain things that make me feel that way. There's just no room. There's no room or energy for it anymore. It just isn't. So when I'm sitting here talking to you and doing the podcast, I fucking, it's great and I love doing it and there's nothing inherently wrong, but I gotta admit, like, my mind is on the next task to solve a problem in this house. So I don't know if that's bad or good. I don't know if I need to seek a therapist, but that's the fucking way that it is. And I'm not going to make a big deal about it, considering, I don't feel like anxiety anymore. I don't feel depression. I'm just like, there it is. There's the solution.
You've got an active goal that you're working for, and you've got a solution that you're working on. So I think it's a good thing. But I think that's like this and our Wednesday night game nights. I think those things are beneficial for you to wind down, to unwind, to relax. I'm
gonna be honest with you. Like, it's me playing video games doesn't ever make me wind down. Like,
well,
when you play Horizon, when you're playing that game, you're leaning back in a chair and you're relaxed and you're playing the game, right?
No. I never sit in a chair when I play games. I'll lay on the floor.
Okay. I don't need to be specific about where you are. Are you relaxed? Are you chilling out?
I mean, to an extent. Like, I don't, like, if I can't perform a certain task, initially. I don't get frustrated. I don't get mad. I used to. I'm way more relaxed and way more chill in that regard.
I don't think
But
you're.
no, I get what you're saying. Uh, you know, but no, my brain is busy. It's focusing on the task at hand. It's not winding down, so to speak, in that fashion. But it is one of the things that I use to relax, even though
Yeah,
it's
I don't relax playing video games. That's my point. My brain doesn't do that. If I'm playing, we play a lot of Fall Guys, and I'm just constantly like, I have to perform at my max capacity. Period. There is no relaxing. There is no chilling out. It's straight up. I'm in it. Um, Video games for my brain are a task that requires me to be at full attention, and that full attention takes a lot of energy and time and space. Um, so when I say what I say, like, when I get, I've told you about my um, gaming fevers, right?
yeah. A
That's
while
part of it.
back. It's been a while.
Yeah, that's a part of what I'm talking about. Like, I get the gaming fevers because my body has to be at 100%. My body has to be just go, 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 go. And so adrenaline is just pumping. And I don't know how to turn it off. But what I have learned is that I have learned to calm it a little bit. So, like, for example, our Wednesday tonight, we're going to be playing Uno. I'm excited about that. Why am I excited? Because that fucking gaming fever doesn't happen.
Oh, okay.
With Fall Guys, the reason I love Fall Guys is that giant fucking gap of time between qualifying and the next round.
Yeah.
And then
Little
yep,
come down period in between
it
rounds.
evens me out. I tried to play Halo. Fucking spikes. And it just continues to be at that spiked. So, and the older I get, I'm not exactly in the best health, and I know that my family has heart issues. So I'm trying to prevent further heart issues by having my adrenaline just be fucking all the time on. Again, if what I'm saying doesn't make sense, it's fine. I know that I'm super fucking weird, but it is what it is, and I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to go with it because I don't know what else to fix it.
Makes sense to me.
That's good.
I get what you're saying.
Well, yeah. So, I don't know how we got on that topic. Oh, having these goals and whatnot, like, is like what is helping. Weirdly enough, playing the video games, playing Wednesday night, that doesn't help. It doesn't. It's just nice. A nice, it gets my mind off of those worries for a few hours, and that's
Yeah,
why I
that's what I
play.
mean by it.
But it doesn't stop my brain from being active. Like, the second I'm done, it's right back in there. It's that whole like, you can drink your problems away, but when you're done drinking and you're sober again, your problems will still be there. It's like, yeah, and my brain doesn't forget that. It doesn't choose to forget that. So, but anyway, folks, God, that was 20 minutes of us just talking about shit.
Not really. If you want to hear a story about somebody speaking for 20 minutes about literal shit, I do have a story.
That's true. But that's a different episode of the podcast. I don't remember what episode number that is.
This is not even our podcast. This is a
Oh,
podcast I
you're
was part
right.
of.
You're
Another
right.
podcast I was a part of.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, we are here to review things. Things.
Tings.
We're reviewing two things that were on Amazon Prime. The finale of the Legend of Vox Machina, which we reviewed the past 3 weeks, and the beginning or the start of or premiere. That's the word they usually use of season 4 of Marvelous Miss Maisel, which you can also find on Amazon Prime or Prime Video, whatever the fuck they want to call it. So I figured we'll start with Vox Machina, and then go into the next show that we'll be reviewing for the next 3 weeks. 4
All
weeks,
right.
3 weeks,
I
next
don't,
3
I,
weeks.
I don't know if are they doing 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
Well, then 3 more weeks after this week.
Yep.
So
It's weird
it's 8
how Prime.
episodes.
Yeah, I was like, it's weird how Prime is releasing their content now, and I feel like The Boys will be like that.
Probably.
I know that we have a lot of content we're going to review in March. We have the Halo series, we have Diabolical. There's a couple other things.
I don't even know what Diabolical is.
It is an anthology show, so each episode is different than the next. Animated.
You know what anthology means, you fuck.
Just clarifying for you and our listeners.
Oh, sorry.
But it's different animated shorts that take place within the Boys universe, but they're all animated and written by different people. So there's a whole whole episode written and animated by Justin Roiland, who does Rick and Morty. I'm trying to remember some of the other people because there was a ton of voices and talented writers like in the list on the trailer. It was fucking wild. But what I like about that is, what I love about little anthology shows is that one of the episodes could fucking suck, but the rest are great, and it doesn't matter. It's not like it hindered the show because it was like, oh, that one sucked, but everything else was good. It's like I don't dislike
Love,
Black
Death,
Mirror
and Robots or Black Mirror.
Yeah, because of like I absolutely fucking hate the one that Anthony Mackie's in. I hate that episode. The one where the two guys are playing a fucking fighting game and then they figure out that they're in love with one another because they're fucking each other in the game. Fuck that episode. I hate it.
I didn't care for that episode either.
But like Black Mirror's great. I'll still recommend it to people. So that's why I'm excited about Diabolical. But then we have the Halo show on Paramount Plus. We have I'm trying to remember some of the other stuff but there's a bunch coming out in March. Like it's going to be a busy month. So yeah.
And then there's March Madness.
That too. Yeah.
I'm excited for March Madness.
I know. I don't know if our friend is going to do that bracket thing.
Oh, we're absolutely doing brackets.
I just don't know if he's setting it up or not. So anyway, sorry, folks. Yeah. So let's get into the finale of Vox Machina. The last 3 episodes. 10, 11, and 12. So the last time we were with them, Lady Briarwood was about to. Oh no, she unleashed a bunch of
undead
zombies. What I don't remember, because it's all kind of one cohesive story in my mind at this point, and I watched it like when it premiered last Thursday at midnight. Was it this 3 episodes where Pike showed up, or was it the end of last week?
No, she showed up at the end of last week.
Okay, that's okay. So yeah, because that's right. The last shot of last week was Percy holding the gun to Anne
Ripley.
Ripley, thank you.
Ridley or something like that.
I think it's Ripley. The second you said it, my brain clicked to it. But yeah, because she had tortured Percy and his sister back before they escaped. But this is also where we learned that there is a demon inside of Percy that's kind of controlling his actions. And
but only controlling them in combat specifically.
Yes. Which is like, again, I've been listening to Critical Role, and I'm now currently listening to their second campaign while I'm door dashing, and then watching each of the new episodes of their third campaign on Twitch every Thursday night. But there's a bunch of people on YouTube that keep combining the actual D&D session to what happened in the show, and none of them have done the thing with this demon. And I'd love to fucking see how like Matt and Taliesin did that, like when they created that for Percy. That it's such a fucking neat idea.
Yeah. So Percy will be speaking, and then the demon, don't remember its name. I remember it began with an O.
Like Corvax or something like that.
Orthax or
Yeah, it was
or
this.
or crotch or something. I don't know.
I'm
When
Googling because
Percy speaks, and then the demon's like, "Oh, you do want to do this?" He's like, "No." He's trying to resist. He's trying to fight, and then the voice that emits from his body is the voice of the demon, and it's wild. It's cool, and his eyes change. Nice effects they've done on that.
yeah, it was fucking rad. Like, because that a big thing. There was a big interview with all of them through IGN, and they were talking about like Sam was talking about how they have to change how the show is written so that way it's a cohesive plot for an animated series, whereas like they don't have to show them going to the fucking shops. They don't have to show them figuring out the outfits they're going to wear or changing their armor or all the shit you do in D&D. They don't need to show that for the animated show. They just need to do the thing. So there's a lot of extra details through the campaign that don't make it into the show. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting was Pike, for example. So yes, that part of her leaving to figure out how to fix her connection to the Everlight and then meeting back up with them as an astral projection.
Mm-hmm.
So Ashley was in New York filming a bunch of stuff. And so she couldn't be there. And it was killing her to not be there. And so what they did is they wrote that part, and then to have her come back at the part where she kills all the zombies,
mm-hmm.
they brought her in via Skype, and they had her on a laptop on the table.
Well, that's cool.
And then she couldn't make it to the next session, so Matt kind of wrote it in that she just like her connection to the astral version of her just vanishes. It just disappears. I was like, that's fucking clever. Orthax, and it was voiced by Matt Mercer, by the way.
I knew it was something like that. I said or crotch. No, the 10th episode was really enjoyable because we see a reveal. Well, we see a couple of reveals, really, if you want to talk about Naked Grog. Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I love Grog.
They're trapped because they've been betrayed, but not by the Dr. Ripley or whatever her name was.
And it's Anne. I know her first name is Anne for sure. I
thought it was Anna.
Oh, it might be Anna. I'm looking it up.
Yeah, Greg's looking it up. I think it's Anna Ripley.
You're probably right. Let's see.
Maybe.
Episode 10. Anna Ripley.
I was right. Thank me. So, yeah. The whole time, Percy thinks that she's going to double cross him, and turns out his sister double crosses him. And as she is leaving to lock them in this chamber, Vax slides under the door and pulls his daggers out on her as she's got a sword to his throat. And that's how the episode comes to an end. They are... Vax is charmed by Silas Briarwood, and he and Cassandra leave with the Briarwoods as the rest of the team, and Anna Ripley are trapped in this acid pit. And the line that Pike used, an acid trap, how fucking original. That was hilarious.
Yeah. I love that, like, so knowing Pike in this show and knowing how she functions, I love that she is a holy person, but she is totally full of debauchery. She doesn't care. And I absolutely love that as a character arc, or not a character arc, but a character archetype, because I find the holy person who has to do everything in a very holy manner and boring. It's fucking
boring as fuck.
like I don't care. Like give me Pike. I fucking love Pike.
Yeah. I mean, I've actually played with people, and they're like, "What class are you thinking about playing?" Well, I'm thinking about playing a cleric. Being all holy and everything. I'm like, "No, we don't need a cleric." Totally fucking the party on a healer, but
Yeah.
I just don't want to fucking put up with that shit.
Well, that's why, like, I think I told you, I was like, if we ever start another D&D group, I want to be a cleric because watching season 3 or campaign 3 and listening to campaign 2, and then also now watching Vox Machina, I'm like, oh, you don't have to play a cleric like a fucking holy person.
That's the thing. You don't have to play with a stick up your ass like some people do.
That's true. It is our world to create. I mean, for Christ's sake, I'm finding out that DMs have been just creating worlds within the D&D rule set.
Yeah.
Like, not using the pre-made worlds, just creating their own fucking place to play. And I'm like, that's dope.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work, which is why I used a pre-made adventure when we were playing. But even then, there were a lot of changes that I would make to that pre-written thing because it's more of a guideline than a hard and fast structure.
Right.
And there's a lot of things that you guys did that weren't covered in it, and I would make shit up on the fly.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it for a second. I watched a clip of everyone who was playing Matt. Like Matt is trying to guide them towards where he can give them a choice, and they chose option C, which he didn't have. So he literally just pulls up a whole piece of paper and just rips it into shreds and then throws it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, it's so fucking fun. Like, I'm mad at myself for not getting into Critical Role earlier or getting into other D&D podcasts earlier because they are a blast.
Like, oh, yeah.
It's making me want to play again, but, like, actually have a different level of fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, back to the
show. Speaking of the blast, the show's a blast. Like they're in this acid trap and they're trying to figure out how to get out of it. And Keyleth's like, okay, I'll just use vines that are coming down because they're in this subterranean cavern. She calls down vines from the ceiling that had grown through to wrap around the fucking pipe that's dispensing the acid. And it works for about 0.03 seconds before the acid eats through the vines, and then the crimped pipes, it bursts through those spots. Now the room's flooding quickly, and Scanlan uses his magic hand, to hold everybody up to get above the acid while they're trying to find a way out. Turns out there's 3 switches that have to be pulled in conjunction, at the same time. And one of them is next to the drain where the acid is. So Grog's like, I got it. Takes his clothes off and just dives in, and you see the acid start just ripping his flesh open. And then Pike's like, I'll heal you. And she's constantly, while he's swimming down through this acid and in pain, and it's eating his flesh away, tearing his flesh away, she's healing, trying to knit and mend and repair the flesh back at the same rate that it's ripping away. And it was a great effect. Well, what was funny though, at the end of it, they succeed in draining the acid. He's standing there all naked and she heals him, and she says, how do you feel? He's like, I don't know, is Captain Winky still there? And she looks, she's like, hanging low. He's like, yeah, I'm good.
That's another thing. I absolutely fucking adore their friendship.
Yeah.
They are, oh my god, dude, it's just so awesome. But yeah, dude, it's and that's the other thing. Like you're mentioning, it's fucking hilarious. Like the stakes are astronomically high for them in this particular season.
But
yet
there
it's still
is levity to make it fucking a riot.
Yeah, to make it fun. So yeah, dude, like, I don't want to ruin the last episode. I want people to watch it. I don't want to kind of go too deep into what happens in the final battle and whatnot, because it's It's an experience you should watch, genuinely. I'm not just saying that to be like, hey, like, I don't know. I think you should watch it. That's all I'm getting at. It's fucking digestible. It is 12 20-minute episodes. That is,
Well, about 25 minutes on the average without credits. Because some of them are 32, some are 28, some are 24.
really, I didn't notice that at all.
Well, that's the signs of a good story, because the time it doesn't feel like 20 minutes went by when you get done watching it.
Dude, I gotta tell you, like, I legit this last Thursday was not heavy sobbing, but definitely crying at the end of this, like, episode 16 of Critical Role.
Oh yeah.
Something happened. I won't get into it, but the reason I mention that is because I know the show's gonna fucking do that to me too. I know it's gonna fucking do it. I'm already in love with these characters, and I give a fuck about them so deeply that if anything happens to them, it's gonna be devastating. Like, and it was just 12 episodes. It was my first introduction to this group, and I adore them. Fuck, dude. Show ruined me. The show ruined me.
To be fair, you've been ruined for a while.
All right, that's unnecessary.
I didn't say how you were ruined. I just said you were.
Yeah, fair. Well, why don't we go ahead and give final thoughts, just so we don't spoil the ending of the season. But that's what I was gonna say. Sorry, last week, I watched a clip of how they did the scene with Scanlan in the that house he was trying to light on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Those potions were based on rolls.
Yeah. Yeah, you touched on that. Like, low rolls, it would be a bad result. Good rolls would be something amazing.
Yeah. Him poofing out of like fucking Nightcrawler, that didn't happen in the campaign. That was added for the animation. But the fire one, that was funny. He rolled a 20 on that one.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And then for him turning into a Triceratops. So it was, what had happened was that he ran into that room and Matt ended the episode. So they had to wait a whole week to see what was going to happen to Scanlan. He apparently him and Matt had talked about what was going to happen, because Sam had an idea of what he wanted to do while he was in that room, which was read that spell but sing it. And out of the campaign, Scanlan goes, I want to turn into a dinosaur. And Matt says, okay, which dinosaur do you want to turn into? Because it's going to depend on, like, a dice roll. And he says, I want to turn into a Triceratops. Matt scrambled to find a Triceratops toy, could not, and had to replace it with a Stegosaurus.
That's unfortunate.
But yeah, dude, it gave him 101 health.
Nice.
For the Triceratops for him, yeah. So I love it, dude. I love it so much, and I'm just so fucking deep. Like, I'm probably in the next month or so gonna end up finishing the second campaign via the podcast. Like, I'm already 6 episodes in, and it's just been a week. Like, I'm listening to a whole episode a day, and each episode's like 4 hours. So I'm deep in it. But
hell yeah.
Why don't we go ahead and give our final thoughts on I guess these 3 episodes and the season?
Yeah, these 3 episodes and the season on a whole, I'm going to give it an A+. It started off, I gave it a B+ starting out because it was a little bit of a slow start. It didn't quite grab me for a couple episodes, but when it did, it didn't let go. And it left me wanting more. And of course, it does end on a little bit of a cliffhanger, which will, I assume, lead directly into season 2. Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you enjoy high fantasy, with a comedic twist, even though the stakes are high, there are grave situations, there are heavy fucking themes in this, but you can laugh at the situations while you're kind of gripping your chair arm with excitement and anticipation. It's a lot of fun. If you're a fan of D&D, as long as you don't play with a stick up your ass, you'll love it. Um, you know, but I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun, very very fun. What about you, Greg?
I mean, I mirror kind of exactly what you said. I mean, except for the beginning part, that first scene in the bar, I was like immediately like, I know I'm gonna fucking love this show. Like I think I've told you 100 fucking times, like the motif of found family and like kind of dark visuals, if you will, like the bloodiness and the goriness of the show itself, on top of how funny it is. I just, oh my god, that stuff just will never not be entertaining to me. Um, so it had that going for it, and then it just had like really well fleshed out characters. And I think a lot of that, somebody was talking about this on Twitter, that the reason that Vox Machina is so popular and so famous, and that the reason that people love fucking Critical Role is because, and I think D&D does this as a whole, these characters are not just one-dimensional characters. It's not just, like, Grog might be a little one-dimensional, but I think his relationship with Pike speaks volumes too. But then you have characters like Vex and Vax who are super fucking complex. And then you have Percy who's super fucking complex. Sure, you have your typical tropes like, oh, my whole family was killed and I have to get revengeance. But there's more to it than just that. And I think that's kind of where I love it so much, is that it's very clear to me that they didn't go into this with the idea of creating boring characters.
Yeah.
And having
Speaking of characters, who's your favorite?
Oh boy, Scanlan for the comedy, and like Pike for the fucking, for just like that combo of the kind of character that she is.
Gotcha. Me being the fucking, I like the characters that most people tend to not like and dislike more than most. I'm a big fan of Percy.
Oh, I figured you would be 100. Your favorite movie is The Crow. Of course, you're a big fan of Percy. That tracks you wouldn't believe. That's not a dog on you for liking Crow.
No.
It makes sense. But, no, I think Percy's a great character because, he's got that brooding darkness about him, but he's also very pompous. He's got that like, I was of royalty, and like, when they said that they were being invited to the to that dignitaries ball, he was excited, where everyone else was like, ugh. And that was that's just rad. It's just fucking cool. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, the whole show gets an A+. The last 3 episodes get an A+. I fucking loved it. I mean, I was glued to my screen. I mean, I'm not joking. It was Thursday night. I was fucking exhausted, and I'd just finished watching this last episode of Critical Role, and I was in tears, and I was like, okay, it's 11:30, 11:45, somewhere in there, and I know that at midnight the 3 episodes come out. So I went downstairs and I got a snack and I came up and I watched all 3, and I was fucking ready to fall. Like I passed out right after watching them, but I was 100% there because I was just like, I gotta fucking see how this ends. And I'm not going to bed until I do. So it's arguably one of my favorite things that has come out of 2022 so far. Like maybe my favorite thing at this point.
What I did, I watched an episode each night after playing Horizon Forbidden West. That way it could help me come down a little bit.
That's fair. But yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on. Check out The Legend of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime. I guarantee you'll like it. If you kind of like Lord of the Rings, or if you're into, let's say, Guardians of the Galaxy, you're gonna fucking love this show. But that's where I'll end there. So it's been 2 years since the last season of Marvelous Miss Maisel?
Yeah, roughly close to it.
It feels like
You
it's been
know,
way too long because I barely remembered what the fuck was going on.
well, I rewatched the first 3 seasons a couple weeks back.
Yeah, I don't have that time in my
Over
life.
Well, I didn't watch them all at once. Okay, yeah, I did.
I was like, I know you.
Well, it's like, what do I have to do today? Fuck all. Well, let's do this.
uh, oh yeah, this season picks up right after the last season ended, where Miriam was on the fucking tarmac.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she did not go to where the fuck was she going?
They were going to Prague. It was the first leg of the European tour, and they kicked her off the tour on the tarmac outside of the plane.
That's right, yeah.
Which they revealed during the episode that it was printed the very next morning, which means that the paper had to have that story in hand before it even happened.
Right.
So they knew they did it to humiliate them.
Yeah, because that's the thing you have to keep in mind about this show. If you haven't watched it in a while or don't remember exactly, it takes place in the late 50s. This is a time where
Well, this is June of 1960. They established.
okay, I missed that entirely. Well, my saying where it takes place isn't entirely wrong on my part. But the reason I mentioned that the time year or the date is because there is no respect for a female comedian. Doesn't exist.
There was barely any respect for females, period.
Yeah. Yes. And so she's getting, she's getting screwed over. And unfortunately, oh my god, her manager, what the fuck's her name?
Susie
is also getting the shit into the stick on this because, Susie sees the talent. Susie sees the potential and is just, is also getting told to go fuck herself by the people in the industry. So, but, it goes back into the problems that the two have with booking places or getting money. Like, it's like you said, that the paper printed it out and suddenly it felt like she was being blackballed from every club in New York.
Yeah, places that she would normally work, they were just like, no, we're not bumping anybody for her.
Yeah.
And shit acts going up and not getting bumped, even though she clearly is super talented and will make an audience laugh their asses off.
Right.
Another problem is she doesn't like to play places that have a lot of alcohol. I can't remember if they've ever established a reason, but she likes what they refer to as basket houses, where there's no alcohol and people are actually focused on her words and not so much, being loaded and more likely to heckle. Who knows? I don't. But
It's definitely weird, and there's a shot in that second episode, which I'm going to jump to that for just a second. But the guy that Susie meets in the park, he's 100% correct.
Harry Drake.
The talent, and this isn't just comedians, but the talent is fucking stupid. This is why the talent needs managers, because they will make the dumbest fucking choices for their art.
Yeah.
And I use quotation figures on the word art because it is art, and I'm not taking that away. But it's like your art isn't more important than like trying to fucking make ends meet with your comedy. But the other angle of this isn't just their struggles, because that's Miriam's struggle, is that she's trying to get back to some sort of sense of normalcy, and she's trying to figure out what to do next, what the next step in her life is. And then there's Susie, who's like, oh, that's right, I gambled away all of my fucking talent's money.
Yeah, just as the talent had, on a whim, bought her old apartment back from her ex-father-in-law, and used her contract as collateral, and now she doesn't have that contract anymore, and she needed all of her money. So you see Susie scrambling around. I need money for the insurance fraud money. We defrauded the insurance company, but we need that check. That was hilarious, the way they went about that whole thing, her and her sister.
Yeah.
But the scene that killed me is
Oh, it's so good.
the Coney Island scene. Uh, Midge calls to see what everybody's doing because she's going to try to figure out how to tell them that she was kicked off the tour. She just didn't want to show up. So she's on the phone with them, and they're having a birthday party for her son. She's like, his birthday's not until November, but they're having it in June. She's like, you can't change his birthday. It's like, November was a bad time for us. I've got deadlines. Your mother's working. Your brother's going to, everybody's going to be busy doing things. She's like, you can't just change his birthday. They're like, well, it doesn't affect you anyway. You're not even here, and you won't be here then. Which is funny because they go to Coney Island, and her dad, Abe, he thinks that they're just going to ride the Ferris wheel one time and go, and everybody else is wanting to make a day of it, and he's just all perplexed, complaining about everything. And they finally make it to the line for the Ferris wheel, and she shows up, and they're like, what are you doing here? I thought you were in Prague. She's like, I know. And he's like, I got an extra ticket. Get the money back from this. And she uses the ticket and gets on the Ferris wheel. So here they are, scattered out through all these Ferris wheel cars, spinning around over Coney Island, 150 feet up in the air. Who knows how long it is, how high it is. Abe exaggerated and said it's 2,000 feet or something like that. But the whole family, her parents, her two kids, her ex-husband, his parents, a couple of neighborhood kids of her sons, that they are just on separate cars, yelling at each other, telling each other what happened. What happened? I got fired. What was that? You got fired? You just bought an apartment. Now you've got no money? I didn't say I didn't have money. I said I got fired. How are you going to pay for it? You know why you got fired? You can't tell a joke. I told you. This kind of shit is going on. And Joel's mother, Shirley, had bought her and the three boys funnel cake. The whole time after this conversation is going on, she's like, oh, this funnel cake's delicious. Petey, is your funnel cake delicious? I lost it over that shit because after he didn't answer, she yells at the next little boy, and she yells at her grandson, Ethan, is your funnel cake delicious? Oh God. That's when I messaged you a couple hours later. You had watched it, and a couple of days later I messaged you in all caps, Greg, is your funnel cake delicious? And you just started answering me, well, I guess it's fine and everything, typical funnel cake. How are they any different? Are they different there?
So the reason
along those lines.
The reason it didn't quite click is we got it Raising Cane's here in Elk Grove, and my dad and I went and got some of it last night, and I was telling you, we were talking about food for like a minute because I didn't know what you guys had in Raleigh in regards to that. And
well,
not Raleigh. I'm sorry, Jesus Christ, Greg. In Virginia,
you had it in Raleigh when you were here,
right. And so I thought it was in relation to that. So my brain wasn't even remotely close to the scene, and you were like, the scene in Marvelous Mrs. I was like, oh shit, fuck yeah, okay, got it, I got it. That's
very, very funny scene.
Oh my god, incredibly funny.
Written.
I because you had kind of prefaced, like, in a sense, warned me about the scene, not intentionally. I didn't tell you
intentionally.
Yeah, I didn't tell you where I was in the episode. So the second that I was like, I told you where I was, you were like, oops, sorry. And I'm like, that's fine. I should have said something. But the reason I say that is because, like, I'm watching the scene fucking cry laughing. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
And I think I said to you, like, whoever wrote that scene deserves an Emmy alone. Like, that was incredible. But yeah, like the outside of that amazing scene, the story now is about, at least where we're left off at the end of episode 2 is like, there are some serious tight money struggles right now.
Yeah. I know in the second episode, she's like trying to reopen her tabs with all these businesses because, you see in the first episode of the first season, she's at the butcher. She's like, put it on my tab. You see her picking up things. She's like, put it on my tab. She had a line of credit. Turns out the line of credit was in her husband's name and not hers, and nobody is extending her lines of credit. So now she has no actual income coming in and no way to pay for the things that she needs. And she's stressing out about it. Uh, at the same time, we see Joel, his club, is doing extremely well to where the owners are like telling his girlfriend, you were supposed to set him up to make sure he failed. He's not failing. There's too many eyes on the business. So they're trying to get him to tank his business. He instead cuts them in on the business and starts giving them 10% of his take nightly. There's a lot of irons in the fire. Abe finds out that his job is a shit job. Even though he loves it, it pays for shit. And that moment that he and her had at the end of the second episode, where they're both just having a drink, and he's like, this is my paycheck. Will it help? Will it buy anything? She's like, an egg. He's like, all right, here's my egg money. She's like, oh, maybe 2 eggs. Oh, just one short of an omelet. And they're laughing about that. And he's like, this is what we do for our art. And he bonded with her. It feels like he had that moment of, I respect what you're doing and I understand why you're doing what you're doing now. What do you think?
Well, I think, one of my favorite things about Abe as a character is that he grew up in the Great Depression, and, his entire concept of, it was the Great Depression and World War II. And so he has this completely different view than Miriam's going to have. Sure, she was a teenager during World War II, but,
no, she wasn't. It's only 1960. She's only 26.
So how old was she been during World War II?
At the end of it, 9 or 10.
Okay. I thought she was older than that. I thought she was like 29.
No, when the series started, she was only 24 or 25.
Okay. That's okay. Well, she doesn't have the hardships that Abe had. She hasn't experienced that stuff that Abe has.
Oh, no. She's lived a life of privilege.
Yeah.
And she finally realized what a life of privilege she had led.
Right. But on the other end, Abe, always kind of on guard, always ready to deal with whatever next catastrophe was around the corner. And what he learns by at least, this episode is he's not prepared like he thought he was. He's not ready like he thought he was. And that has allowed him the sight to understand why Midge is the way that she is. I don't know why I call her Midge. Everyone else does, so that's kind of where my brain goes.
Well, I mean, that's her nickname.
Right. And I absolutely love the scene because one of my favorite things about what this show is really saying is, like, are you out there a struggling artist? Do you have something you would like to show the world and you're trying your best to get as many eyes on it, and you know that you're talented, but it's difficult, and you're a struggling artist and you think you got a leg up, but then it goes down? Oh, so did this girl in the late 50s, early 60s, and I think that's what I love, is that I think there's this glamorous side that people think of entertainment, and it's just not the case. It's just not the case. Some are born into it. Sure. You got your actors that, both their parents were successful actors. And so they became a successful actor, and they lived a life of privilege and got roles because their parents were like, hey, give my kid a chance. But there's a lot that don't, a lot that didn't. and a lot that sacrificed a lot of their life. And Miriam is an example of that. She sacrificed a fuck ton to be where she is, and it's not the best place. And so I personally feel like The Marvelous Miss Maisel is a show of hope and inspiration. And every time we get a new episode, I know that we're going to have that. And so I think that's why I love the show as much as I do. Not just because it's super funny, it's cleverly written, all the characters are wonderful and you give a fuck about them, but you also have the angle that I was talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
So it also teaches the rule of like never give up. Never give up.
Absolutely.
Never surrender. So, but anyway, well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Let's give our final thoughts on these 2 episodes and give it a grade. I'll pop in first since you went first last time. These 2 episodes get an A, not an A plus, because I feel like there's some aspects to it that can kind of be wrapped up. We don't have to dwell on them too much. Like, I'm sorry, Joel's shit with the fucking the Chinese landlords or owners, I don't know if I call them, and their bar or their like illegal gambling underneath the club that he opened up. I don't care that much. I really, really don't. It's not that interesting.
I think it's going to come into play later.
Oh, I'm sure. It just feels like there was a lot of time spent on it. And like, don't get me wrong, that scene where he's trying to use the translation book was funny. And it was poignant. It was still ran way too long in my opinion. But other than that, I don't really have a whole lot to say about the episode. I think that the fucking Coney Island scene deserves a goddamn Emmy. That shit was amazing. I was like willing to just show that to my folks alone because I was like, you got to see this. Like, if this doesn't get you to watch the show from the start, I don't know what will. But yeah, I give it a solid A.
Yeah, absolutely gets an A. It's wonderfully charming, delightful show that, you know, it tugs at your heartstrings in places. It makes you feel for these characters. They're well developed, well thought out characters. You know, in real life situations, but set in the late 50s, early 60s, this being 1960 now as of the show 4th season beginning. It's so good. It's so good. And I just saw that it was renewed for a 5th and final season last week. So there will be one more season after this. I was thinking that this was it, but they apparently added a 5th season. So that's good. But yeah, I highly recommend this show. It is one of my favorite things that you can watch on Prime Video. And I can't wait until Lenny Bruce shows up again. Because the guy they got doing him is perfect.
Yeah, we've talked about it in the past, but that's one of my favorite aspects to the show entirely is it showcases like early stand-up comedy. Like, a lot of respect should be laid to Lenny Bruce and how he kind of created the world, what we know as stand-up comedy to this day. So, but anyway, yeah, I can't wait to see him again in the show. We got 6 more episodes, 3 more weeks, so you'll get 2 hours every week if you start watching now, which the new episode came out today as of uploading this. So if you're listening to this on Friday when we upload it, which you should, I'm looking at you, guy that listens to this on Saturday. How dare you? There's 2 new episodes out. So, which, speaking of, we are going to wrap this puppy up because I am fucking hungry.
I am too.
I haven't eaten anything since 8 a.m. and it is currently 4 p.m. over here, so I need to eat.
It's 7 here, and I ate at about 11. So yeah, it's been 8 hours since I ate anything.
Okay, so we're both on the same boat. Anyway, so yeah, next week we're just going to talk about Marvelous Miss Maisel. Like I said, March is going to be a heavy month. We're going to have a lot to review every single week. And we'll see how that fucking pans out. Oh, that was the other thing that comes out in March is Moon Knight.
Yeah. That's right.
I knew there was something else I was forgetting. But yeah, so next week We're going to talk about episode 3 and 4 of Marvelous Miss Maisel, and then I'm going to create a game for us to play because we haven't done that in a minute, and I think that'll be fun. But other than that, what's up?
Whee!
Oh, we. Other than that, yeah, check out our socials, which are listed down below. That's where you'll see if we add anything. I doubt we will this week, but we'll and we need to be better about being on social media. But make sure you check out the Teespring store. That's where you can find clothing with our cartoon faces on it. It helps support the show. It helps keep your back warm. So it's a win-win. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel. That's where you can watch this live. Also, I uploaded a review of Peacemaker Season 1, which you can check out. And I'm going to be recording a review for the Cuphead show on Netflix very soon here. And that'll be up on the YouTube as well. So you're getting like quickie reviews from me. Other than that, make sure you subscribe to that and hit like on all the videos so that way it boosts our content to other people who might be interested in the show. And it's free to you. Why don't you do it? You got nothing to lose. I guess it would fuck with your algorithm a little bit, but Al Gore can go fuck himself. Because it's algorithm. Get it?
I'm super serial.
Anyway, Maya, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Facebook under my name. It's a public profile. My Twitter and Instagram profiles are linked to my Facebook page. So if you want to follow me on either of those, just find me on Facebook and follow the links. You can catch me on Figure Banging on the Realm of Collectors YouTube channel every other Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. No new show this week, though. Ace, the host, is in the midst of changing jobs, transitioning to a new job, and just hasn't had time to put anything for a show together this week. So hopefully back on next regular schedule 2 weeks from now. But yeah, that's where you can find me. What about you, Greg?
You can find me on all socials under Chub Rock Geek. It's pretty easy, pretty simple. You can also follow the Mission Start podcast site. You can find all sorts of stuff on there. Anthony's got projects he's working on. We do a seasonal by
quarterly.
Yeah, quarterly. There you go. Jesus, a quarterly podcast where we just kind of catch up and talk about gaming news over a certain course of time. I'm also trying to send him reviews of video games. I'm really bad about getting on that, but also been thinking about just doing like opinions on things, just to fucking stir the pot, if you catch my drift. So, but yeah, that's Mission Start Podcast or Mission Start Tubes on YouTube. If you're interested in video games, go check that stuff out. But again, guys, thank you so much for listening. Marvelous Miss Maisel next week and a game. Just because March is going to be heavy. Go watch that, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody.